Do you want to hear one of the dumbest comments I've had in the comment section so far? So obviously we're building a homestead, and if you've followed along with our journey, you'll have picked up on the fact that we've got a block of land and a tiny home that we built a couple of years ago. And there's stories behind how we made all that happen, and I'll share those stories with you in due course, but spoiler alert, it didn't cost as much as you might think. But the truth is, from this moment on, we're doing this entire project on a budget. Kirsty works part-time and I don't. I mean, this is my full-time gig. Building, setting up a homestead and capturing that journey for YouTube. And let me tell you, at this stage of the journey, that doesn't pay anything. In fact, it's costing us money. So the comment, it was on one of our first videos and someone said, "Oh yeah, great, where are your Ferraris? Are they parked just out of shot of the camera?" And I thought, what a stupid comment. Like, what a dumb thing to say. I mean, I'm not hiding anything, and look around, there's not a lot here. But instead of just kind of going all keyboard warrior on him and hitting him back, I thought, I wonder where that thinking even comes from. So anyway, I've got a couple of projects that we're wrapping up this week, and as always, I want to show you where we're at on the setup of our homestead, and so I'll take you along on some of those projects. But what I'm really hoping to do in this video is just explore that thinking a little bit and share with you an idea that just maybe, in opposition to that type of thinking, it's actually a lack of kind of finances or skills or experience that might just be the very thing that you need to put you in the place of most inspiration. I'll show you what I mean. So case in point, I've got two projects on the go at the moment that I really need to wrap up before we kind of move on to anything else out here, and that is I need to finish what we started here in the gardens area, which is we're felling some trees, I need to clear them. So I need to do something with all of this material that's coming down, and we'll do that over the next couple of days. And I really need to finish that chicken yard over there. I know I made another video about that and I said that's just going to be part one and we'll finish it on another video. Well, we've got to get that done, and yeah, all right, I broke my foot, excuses. I'm in shoes now, so it hurts, but I'm on the mend. But the point is, both of these tasks, actually, if I think a little bit creatively about it, can kind of go hand in hand and save me a ton of money. And the way that I started with that was I really wanted to build this chicken yard. I wanted it to look good, but I knew it was going to take a whole heap of timber to do it, and like maybe $1,000 if I was to buy all of the timber from the hardware supply store. So instead of doing that, you know, one of the most helpful questions you can ask is, what's an alternative to XYZ? So an alternative method of building a chicken coop, or maybe use the phrase on a budget. So building a chicken coop on a budget, or starting a veggie garden on a budget. That kind of thinking can actually, especially if you jump online and do like searching, that can actually lead you to some really creative spaces. And I did that exact same thing because I didn't want to spend $1,000 on timber for my chicken yard, especially when I've got tons of timber around me. So it came down to, I wanted to put some posts up. Yeah, I'm going to have to buy chicken mesh and a few other bits and pieces of hardware, but if I don't buy the timber to do that project, well, what can I do? And instead of just jumping on Pinterest and going best looking chicken yard and, you know, coming to the conclusion that I'm going to have to save $1,000 before I can build anything like that, I found some really creative solutions. And that's where we came up with the idea, well, we didn't come up with it, to do hardwood timber posts just out of tree trunks, like not even taking the bark off them. And, you know, you sometimes don't even think about things that you've always done it that particular way. Like, why do we take the bark off of posts? I'm sure there's a really practical reason for it, and you know, maybe some of you are going to roast me in the comments and say, well, it's because that's the easiest part of the tree to rot, or it's going to be infested with termites, or whatever it might be. I mean, it looks really cool, and I saw lots of projects online that had done a similar solution to that project, and that's what really sparked our creativity in how we were going to complete that project on a budget without, you know, blowing the bank on tons of timber that we just didn't have to buy. But it did mean that I had to go out and buy a chainsaw. So that's what I was saying before, when you don't really get away with running a homestead for $0. Like, that's just impractical. Like, nobody lives that way. But an investment in a chainsaw, which we researched and spent our time investing and actually saved our dollars for, is actually a multiple project investment. I've now got a tool that I can use to clear a gardens area, that I can use to create posts for a chicken yard. And so that's what I'm working on today. told me I need to get out of the moon boot and into a shoe as soon as I can, and that's part of the whole healing process, I guess, like movement and blood flow, and that this particular bone, I guess maybe it doesn't move around a lot, but man, I gotta tell you, it hurts. And their advice to me was, well, do it to whatever your pain level can tolerate. I was kind of like, I feel like I can tolerate a lot. I hope I'm not doing damage here, but anyway, as long as I'm sort of standing still and I've got most of my weight shifted on the right, it's not too bad. Man, I hit a rock with this the other day. I was cutting that log there. Oh, you can probably see it. I don't know if you can see it. There's a rock right there. What is it with me not seeing rocks? I jumped off that thing and broke my foot. I cut through that thing and like fully dulled this blade. Blade, it's not a blade. Look at me being a newbie. I might never have thought about building a chicken yard out of, you know, raw cut timber posts that's just gonna look really cool. Like, it's gonna fit the aesthetic of the entire property. It's gonna be rewarding in terms of like, it's a creation, it's something you get to creatively do. But, you know, I also just didn't throw like $1,000 at timber that I didn't have to, and not even notice like the wealth of resources that I have at my disposal in my hands. But it takes putting yourself in a position and changing your mind about what you actually have available to you to do what you want to do. And it involves kind of questioning yourself, like, all right, if I didn't have, you know, like you might look at a project like that and kind of go, okay, yeah, if I was to hire a contractor to build it or buy a kit, you know, chicken coop or all of that, and then add it all up and go, all right, well, that entire project's probably going to cost like $3,500, you know, including the chickens and the feeders and waterers and the fencing and all of the stuff that you need. Like, it could easily cost that. All right, and then say, well, what if I only had 10% of that? Like, what if I only had $300 or $400? Would I still do it? Or if I was in a place where it was like, I'm doing this regardless, which was kind of what we did, how would I approach that? Like, how would I solve some of those problems? If I only had $400 available to me, how would I build a chicken coop? How would I get chickens? Like, how would I set them up? How would I care for them in a responsible way? How would I build a chicken yard? And it's putting yourself in that place of questioning that kind of makes you look around and go, well, how are other people doing it? Like, you know, not everybody has $3,000 to throw at a chicken coop. Man, that is so, like, the problem is I feel like I'm gonna have to take all of these left-hand side chisels right back to bring them back to a point. Or everything on the right-hand side, it must have been on that side. Everything on the right-hand side's got this really nice point, but man, this thing was smoking when I was using it the other day, and I was like, okay, it's either a problem with the oil, it's a problem with the bar, it's a problem with the chain, problem with the clutch. I mean, it's brand new, so I doubt it. Chain's the most likely culprit, and you know, all I had to do was look at it to kind of go, wow, there are no points left on the corners of those chisels. I guess one of the dangers of kind of doing like the homesteading thing is an arrogance that can come along with that self-sufficiency mindset. Like, I'm going to do everything, I'm going to do it all myself, I don't need anyone. And that's just not true. Like, you only know what you know. You only have the skills that you have, and you've only got the resources that you've got, unless you start to think outside the box. And you can't think beyond your own thinking unless you allow other thinking to kind of inspire you and break you out of that mindset. So part of our commitment to this journey has been, well, how do we stay connected to community and like free thinking and you know, ideas generation? And there are some great resources online. I mean, just jump on Facebook or whatever social media you might be on and punch in like your suburb or your locality, and or even just your country name, and homesteaders. And I guarantee you there's a handful of groups of people who are doing what you're doing or want to do, and they like have really creative ways of thinking about things and doing things, and you're just going to get so much inspiration from them. You can't do this on your own. You just can't. I guess what I'm ultimately saying is, I think one of the biggest barriers to making a big life change like this is your mindset about how the world really works and what resources it's going to take to do the likes of what we're doing. But I mean, I look around here and I don't think that what we're doing is particularly hard or weird or far out, but I get so many people saying, oh, I wish we could live like you're living or do what you're doing, but we could just never do that. And the more I've thought about that, the more I've realized that a lot of people are stuck in this kind of consumer-oriented mindset that says, well, unless I pay the expert or unless I buy the kit version or fork out all my hard-earned dollars for that project, then kind of who are you to think that you could ever do something like that? Well, and let me tell you, like, we're not cutting corners here. Like, as you get to know Kirsty, in fact, you should check out her tiny home tour video. You'll realize we're not sacrificing on style or comfort. In fact, one of her first questions she always asks me when we come up with a new way of doing something is, yeah, but is it gonna look like So, check it out. Not only did we get our gardens area cleared, but I'm also well on my way to stacking next year's firewood. We've made a nice big pile of mulch for our garden pathways. We've got some really funky timber posts made for our chicken yard, and this chicken yard is almost finished. Like, almost. Anyway, I hope that gets you thinking, like whether you're planning to go all out off-grid like we've done, or you're just making some changes in your life to live more sustainably, don't fall into the trap of the how it's always been done type of thinking. And you know what? Get yourself connected to a community of like-minded, free-thinking, creative people. It really is the most rewarding way to live. We'll see you on the next video.